see you hurt.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing a palette review on the Sephora Pro palette. This is the warm edition and this is the palette that I've been the most excited about in like literally the last couple of palette releases that I've seen. I am just personally a warm tone girl, so I love any type of warm tone eyeshadows, warm tone palettes, anything of the sort. I'm just like, give it to me. You know what I mean? Especially if it works for darker skin tones, because I feel like some warm palettes, the shades are a little bit more catered to the lighter skin tone, so not all of them show up on our skin tones. More so you can use them for like a matte smoky eye or something of the sort. But this Sephora Pro palette was created by, I believe it was 15 different makeup artists that kind of all got together and kind of, you know, got their ideas together and was like, this is the shade, this is this. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review and demo. I will pretty much be reviewing it the first half of the video, and then the second half I'll be doing one eye on camera and then coming back and letting you guys know my final thoughts, which this palette is pretty good. So I hope you guys enjoy, and I will see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you soon. See you soon. Bye guys. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we are going to be doing a review on the Sephora Pro palette, the Warm Edition. Now Sephora Pro, I guess is a line, you can say, is a makeup line by Sephora, the company. So they have a range of different things: foundations, concealers, eyeshadows, blushes, highlighters, pretty much everything you could want in an affordable brand, because it's about the most affordable brand that they have at Sephora. Kind of like Ulta Beauty is the line of Ulta at the Ulta store. So for this palette, they came out with a warm, a cool, and an editorial palette. These palettes range for about $68, so it took me about it took me about 3 weeks to decide whether or not I was going to spend the $38 or $68 on a palette, because it's not like your normal $30 to $40 palette. It's expensive as hell. So that's mainly why I wanted to review it. Plus I am a big fan of warm eyeshadow palettes. I can't get enough of warm eyeshadow palettes. So this is the box that the palette comes in. It is just a matte black box with some gold lettering. The palette itself in this box is very heavy. It's a very heavy palette. And then when you turn it around, it also has the shade names on the box, the ingredients, and kind of like what is Sephora Pro. So pretty much what they say is 15 top makeup artists handpicked their superior skills, creativity, and ability through education. So they partnered with the Sephora Pro team to create the Pro Pigment palettes. Now they have 28 high pigment, high performance shades in chrome, matte, shimmer, and satin finishes. So you pretty much are going to get everything in this palette. It said each palette comes with a simple application techniques written by the Sephora Pro team that are unique but never intimidating. So it says create endless looks featuring rich, velvety, warm pigments and gold textures that light up your eyes. So I will say that warmer shades look really good on green and blue eyes, but I feel like anything looks good on brown eyes, let me just say that. But so when you open up the box, this is what they were talking about when they mentioned that it comes with a little like a little pro sheet. So if you open it up, it has a bunch of different, I think I have it upside down. Yeah, I have it upside down. So it comes with a bunch of different looks. Look 1, natural eyes. Look 2, warm smoky eyes. Look 3, defined smoky eyes. And then look 4, dimensional smoky eyes. So it gives you 4 different smoky eyes that you can do using the certain shades in this palette. It also explains every single step and technique that you need to do, which I think that's very interesting. I don't see many palettes do this anymore. I remember when I got the first Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette that they ever came out with, they had put something like this in their palette. So it just kind of helps those that are a little bit less inexperienced or those that don't really know what to do when they get a palette. They're like, okay, I have this palette that this girl recommended, but I don't really know what to do with it. So it's kind of more so on that level. So when you open the palette, it is once again a very, very, very sturdy packaging. So this is something that you could take on the plane and not have to worry about it cracking or breaking or anything like that. It's very sturdy. Also for myself as a makeup artist, if I'm traveling or something like this palette is like, it's pretty sturdy. So once you open that, you get a little clear sheet that has the names on it. So I do like to keep this and just for reference, and then it also has a very large mirror up top, which is going to be really good if you're doing your makeup by yourself and you don't have a stand-up mirror. This mirror is humongous. It takes up the whole front half of the palette. So this is what the palette looks like. Very, very, very beautiful. So as you can see, I have swatched some of the shades just to kind of get a reference on what they look like. This one is probably one of my favorites. It is extremely pigmented. That's just one little swipe. And so is this one. This one I think is called Brick. And then, ooh, the golden one. So those three are the more metallic kind of finishes, like they were saying on the box. And let my arm get in focus. So this is the 3 swatches. That is with no primer, no anything. That's just my bare skin, and those are still super pigmented. And I just got it on my legs. Oh well. So those are very, very, very pigmented. The only one that I swatched that I feel like did not have a lot of payoff, which I think it's because it's more of a glittery shade, is this shade here. This is called Peach. But the mattes also swatch very, very well. This is one matte. So these are 3 mattes. Oops, I was going to the side. I suck. Oh my gosh. This is my left hand. Don't judge these swatches too much, but they have a lot of pigmentation. That black is still like stained on my fingers. So let's go ahead and get into the eye look and see what we can kind of create with this palette and see how they work and they perform pretty much. So I'm going to start by priming my lid, and I'm using my Wet n Wild Photo Finish Concealer for today. Once again, just because I used it to carve out my eyebrows. This concealer is a little bit thicker of a concealer though, if I may say so. But nonetheless, we're just going to use this to prime. So the first shade I want to take is this one here, and this is called Clay. It's kind of like a mid-tone, orangish kind of color. It might show up a little bit more like my skin tone than anything. I'm going to take a Sigma E40 blending brush, just a really large, fluffy blending brush, and I'm going to take this into the palette. Now, this palette, I know there's like a ton of reviews on the Subculture palette, myself included, about there being a lot of kick up. This palette does have kick up, and it also is very, very pigmented, but I don't think that will be a problem. So I'm just going to work this up into my upper crease in windshield wiper motions, just to have a creased shade slash bridge shade slash transition shade. The shade is very, 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 very pretty. It's pretty, and it's just the right shade for it to not be too warm, but not too kind of like a light slash taupey in color. So I feel like this would be a really good warm shade for even lighter skin tones. They don't want something too dark and deep. So that blended out really, really, really pretty, and I'm still blending this and still working this into the crease and building this up because I like my shade to be a little bit darker, but nonetheless I am going to go in and build more shades over the top, so you can stop right here. So then there's this shade right here. It's called Burnt Umber, and it's a very, very dark, matte, reddish brown shade, which is one of my favorite shades. Oh, let me remind you guys that The shade Clay reminds me a lot of Dance the Tides by NYX. They're matte single eyeshadows, and this burnt umber shade looks a little bit more, and it is a little bit more powdery, but it reminds me a little bit more of like Cocoa Bear by Makeup Geek. So this is a little bit darker in shade, and I'm keeping this pretty tight in the crease just to add definition. And this shade actually is coming off a little bit darker than I thought it would in my crease, as opposed to how it looks in the pan. It doesn't look like it'd be this dark of a reddish brown. But it actually looks a little bit darker. Not a big deal, but that kind of changes the way I'm going to do things. So I'm also going to pack that out into the outer corner. Now, do you see what I mean? How it looks a little bit lighter here than it does in the crease. Now, that could be because I'm building in the crease and I haven't placed anything onto this outer edge. So that's just a little weird to me. But these shadows are blending very, very beautifully. And I didn't mention, but I'm using a Morphe brush. I don't know the number of this brush, but it's just like a more tapered blush. It comes to more of a point as opposed to being more fluffy, but you see the fluff still gets into the crease. So now I'm going to take the shade Obsidian right here. It's just a matte black shade. And I'm going to start working that into the crease as well. I'm not going to work too much of the matte black, which does have some kick up, into the crease because I don't want this to be too dark and too sultry. I just want a little bit of definition out into the crease because it's just not that, there's not that really nice matte brown, like that warmish, like not warmish, reddish, but like more of a warmish matte brown. I like more of a warm. They do have a cooler brown, but I just don't think that is working for the look that I want to go with, and I would prefer more of a warmer brown as opposed to a cool brown. So I am using a Duke hair brush I got from a company, and I'm just going to use this to work this brown into the crease. Keeping this shade really tight. Then I'm going to take that Morphe brush again, and I'm going to take Burnt Umber and just take that right over the top where that black started to blend up. And then just use that to blend into the crease. And when you're blending into the crease, you want to go in windshield wiper motions, and then when you want a more so buff, you can do small circular motions to buff the shades together. Then I'm just going to take a little bit more of Clay and just dust that up towards the brow bone. I don't really like to highlight my brow bones too often. Y'all already know that, but if you do want to highlight your brow bone, you can do so with just one of these matte vanilla shades that are at the top of the palette. So now I am going to, okay, I could never decide, but I think I'm going to go with the shade Brass, which is right here. Don't mind my nails, I'm getting them done on Wednesday. But I'm going to take Brass, which is more of a yellowish gold, and I am going to place that all over my lid, and I'm going to use the Sigma E58. This is a cream color brush, so it's just a flat synthetic brush. And this shade here is so darn silky smooth and pigmented. Like, you don't even need Fix Plus for this shadow if you don't want to apply some. But I did bring mine over here just in case, so I am going to put that on the lid. And bring that up into the crease. And then continue to pack this color on. This color is so pretty. It's a cross between like a yellow gold and like a green, like a more of a green gold than a yellow gold. It is stunning. Another trick, you guys, if you want it to be a little bit more metallic, pull your eye taut, so that way your eyeball has this hard surface of your eyelid has the hard surface of your eyeball to apply that shadow against, and it'll make it a little bit more metallic. So then I'm going to go back in with this brush here and just blend the edges with no product on it. And then after this, you guys, you can go in with your liner, mascara, things of that sort. And I'm going to put on lashes. I don't know which lashes I'm going to put on because I haven't even pulled anything out of my drawer, let's be honest. But I'm going to put on liner, probably do some wing liner, probably throw on some Cocoa Lashes and Queen Bee and call it a day. And then do my face, and I will be back to give my final thoughts on this palette so far. As you guys know, I will be doing more videos using this palette. However, I don't know if it'll be an entire 5-week long video series, just because I am going to Atlanta on Wednesdays. So, yeah. I'll see y'all in a little bit. Alright, you guys. So, for my lips, I wanted to do something a little bit dark, because fall is coming. So, I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Liquid Matte lipstick in the shade Vixen. Which looks like this. It's like a more of a reddish burgundy brown matte shade, and I am just gonna put this all over my lips. Alright, you guys, so my final thoughts on this palette is that it is pretty darn amazing. I did go ahead and put some more of the black and a little bit more of that burnt umber shade on the lower lash line, and they both blended out beautifully. The pigmentation of this palette is amazing. Like, it is seriously A1, which I would expect because this was created by pro artists. And pro artists are pretty dang serious about how their eyeshadows blend and how they work. The metallic shades are definitely my favorite shades out of this palette, just because they're so buttery. I mean, like, it's hard for me to explain the formula of them because I don't really know much about formulas, but they feel really buttery on my skin, or my hand. They glide like butter on the eye. Like, I didn't even cut out my eyelid like I usually do when I do like kind of like a half cut crease, or when I apply a more metallic shimmery shade on my eye. I usually put a base down. Didn't do that, and it still showed up extremely pigmented and extremely kind of like out there. This palette is amazing. I'm excited to dabble in more of the other colors and do other looks using this palette. This purple shade right here is really catching my eye. Like, I'm like, It is just so pretty. So I'm really excited to do more looks with this palette. Like I mentioned, there was a little bit of kick up, as you can see here on the two shades that I was mixing to smoke out on my lower lash line. There's a little bit more of a powder residue on there, but it's not so much of a kick up that it's just like, oh my gosh, like, it's not that big of a deal. But with any pressed eyeshadow that's matte especially, you're going to get a little bit of kick up. But not that big of a deal, but nonetheless, I still love it. And I also like that they came with a shade chart. I would have rather it been on the actual palette, but for makeup artists that don't really care about the shades, or don't do YouTube tutorials, or don't watch YouTube tutorials, then it doesn't really matter what shades they are. They're just going to dabble in and kind of go from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review / demo. That was my best friend. But if you guys are interested in seeing more videos, make sure to stay tuned, and also let me know what you'd like to see down below, and I'll see you guys later. Mwah. Bye.